NetsBoy, so let's hear what he has to say. His name is NetsBoy, he thinks the world is all over when the Nets just can't play. What up, Net fans? NetsBoy here, bringing you the latest in your Brooklyn Nets news. So, this is going to be my last of my little countdown videos of respective players in their positions, or in this case, overrated players. The whole segment really didn't get a lot of views, and I was really disappointed in that. But I kind of also understand it because, like I think I said in my last video, I have noticed my off-season videos don't get that many views because it's the off-season and no one's looking for it. So I'm going to get over it and just say, whatever, I'll just finish this up and do my due diligence. And say, whatever, you know. Maybe they'll get videos when the season's, views when the video starts. Maybe they'll get views when the season starts. Anyway, this is my top 3 most overrated players. Last week was underrated. This is overrated. Now, there are a lot of players that a lot of people will make cases are overrated. I'm no different. And I think that that when you're dealing with overrated players, you're really dealing with a lot of opinion-based, ideas, not necessarily stats. So what I try to do is these players that are going to be on my overrated list, I say them, and then I say why I don't like them, and then I try to use some sort of statistic and analysis to justify why it is I think they're overrated. The problem with that is there's a lot of people who will disagree with what I think, but who cares? It's my opinion, my show. Who cares? So here we go, my top 3 most overrated players based off of last season. Now, my honorable mention is a little bit different, and I'm probably going to actually spend most of this video talking about it. Maybe not, who knows. I decided not to pick a player per se as much as a player during a specific time. My honorable mention for the most overrated player is LeBron James in the NBA Finals. Now, this is an honorable mention because there's actually a few analysts who actually have a similar view that I have of this as well, and I like these people because they're using their brains. It's also an honorable mention because no matter what all the stats that I'm going to prove to show why LeBron James's NBA Finals was one of the most overrated performances ever, it's still really impressive numbers. Let's just look at the numbers here. 35 points per game, 13 rebounds a game, 8.8 assists. Those are unbelievable. NetsBoy, how could you say that performance was overrated? Well, let's be honest, it was very overrated. And look, this is no knock on LeBron James because he had to do what he had to do. Everyone was hurt on the Cavs. The only chances they had of winning was LeBron had to take over the game and do everything. So I'm not knocking him for doing this, but I want people to understand that when people say, oh, it was one of the greatest finals performances ever, shut up, you're stupid if you say that. First of all, he shot 39% from the field. Averaged 32 field goals a game. 32 a game! You should never be shooting more than 30 field goals and shoot under 40%. Ever! His turnovers was 3.5 per game. 3.5 turnovers a game. That's barely a 2-to-1 ratio, assist to turnover ratio. He shot 67% from the free throw line. These are not good numbers. Oh, and he played almost 46 minutes a game. So, hey, anybody could score 35 points when they're playing 36 minutes a game and jack it up over 30 shots a game. Anyone can do that. Vince Carter can do that. I could do that. I'll be honest. I could probably do that. Actually, I know I could do that. If I'm shooting in a game 32 times, I can score 35 points. I know that because in my men's basketball league, I was 4 for 9, and that was 11 points, and if you do the math, it'll be more than 35. I actually, in my men's league, am shooting 46%, 47% from the field. So, what now, LeBron? I'm better than you. I understand the numbers. It was impressive to be averaging that, but let me just put everything to rest with this statement. Michael Jordan. Now, and this once again is going to go with this whole LeBron James, Michael Jordan comparison. Michael Jordan's worst finals performance, by the way, he was in 6 of them, and won all 6, his lowest field goal percentage was 42%. But he did have a lot of games where he shot over 30. He did have a lot of series where he averaged more than 30 field goals a game. But here's something interesting. The one series that he shot more than 30 field goals, he shot 50% from the field. 50%. 41 points per game. 41 points per game, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. But shot 50% with 41 points per game. That's better. I take that. Who cares about the 13 rebounds? Rebounds are easy to get if no one else is going for the ball, which no one else was. Points are easy to get if you're jacking up tons of shots. Jordan shot 50% and scored 41 points when shooting over 30 shots a game. LeBron shoots 30 shots a game. He shoots 39%. That's an 11% difference. Yet no one in the world is saying, Michael Jordan, that was the best finals ever, though I think, actually, hold on. That was a dumb statement. I think a lot of people have said that's one of the best finals performances ever, but the problem is everyone's so used to it because it's Jordan. So people just need to step back and realize how underwhelming that was. It's not that impressive, okay? It's impressive because the fact that he had no one else on the team and he had to single-handedly take control and he still put up really unbelievable numbers, but it wasn't as great as everyone says, and I'm sick of it. I've talked to people, it's like, yeah, LeBron James, you see that finals performance? I want to slap him across the face. Because guess what? You plug Jordan in instead of LeBron, Jordan would have beat the Warriors. I believe that. Because you know why? He would have shot 11% better, which means that's going to be an additional 15 extra points a game that Jordan would have been scoring. And that would have made a huge difference in at least 2 of those games. So there you have it. My honorable mention, LeBron James' finals performance. I want to specify the finals performance. Simply because his shooting percentage was atrocious. He played almost 46 minutes a game. He shot under 70% from the free throw line. He had over 3.5 turnovers. Disgusting. I'm sorry, it wasn't as impressive. I wasn't impressed. So, there. Honorable mention, LeBron James' playoff performance. Done. Let's go to my number 3 most overrated player. I think it comes to no surprise that he'll be here. That is Blake Griffin. I don't like Blake Griffin. I've said it several times in my top 5 power forwards. 21.9 points per game, 7.6 rebounds, 0.5 blocks. His assists are pretty decent. Shot 50% from the field. Look, my problem with Blake Griffin is, to me, he's just not a complete enough player. He has done a good job of improving his game. I do give him kudos to that. He can hit a spot-up jump shot occasionally, but he still doesn't have a post game too much. He still relies heavily on just going to the basket and getting the ball from Chris Paul and finishing. And those blocks are just terrible. 0.5, you can't be as good as he is and athletic as he is and average 0.5. You can't do it. You've got Kemba Walker. I think I said this in my power forwards spiel. Kemba Walker, a 6-foot point guard, averaged the same amount of blocks per game as a guy who jumps over cars, who's 6'9". That shouldn't happen. You should never have a 6-foot player having the same amount of blocks per game as a 6'9" athlete who can jump over cars. That's just laziness on Blake's part. It means he's not intuitive enough to process where the ball is and block shots. It means he's a poor help defender. He's a poor judgment on jumping up. And look, 7.6 rebounds for his athleticism isn't that great. It's just not good. He just dunks the ball a lot. He gets fouled a lot. And he flops all the time. That's why Blake Griffin is number 3. I just don't like the guy. And I think a lot of people agree with me that he's a bit overrated. They still say he's one of the top power forwards. I agree he is. Not the top, but he is a top 5 power forward. But he's just simply overrated. Talk to me, Blake, when you average over 1.5 blocks per game. Then I'll start giving you a little bit of respect. But until you do that, you, my friend, suck. All right, number 2. My number 2 most overrated player is another Clipper. Wow, NetsBoy, what do you hate, the Clippers? No, I just personally think the fact that that team can't seem to get out of the second round of the playoffs is not a coincidence. DeAndre Jordan. Now, DeAndre Jordan stepped up. Last year, he was on my underrated list. And I said his problem was he didn't average enough rebounds or blocks per game to be for his athleticism. Well, he stepped up this year. 11.5 points, 15 rebounds a game, 2.2 blocks. Look, those are great numbers, and that's what you want out of your center. And I am not knocking DeAndre Jordan at all based off of those statistics. 15 and 2 blocks per game, that's what you want out of your center. That's fantastic. I say, good, DeAndre Jordan. You took my criticism, but you know what I don't like about him? And this is the only reason why I'm putting him on this overrated list. Really, when I think about it, maybe he should be 3 and Griffin should be 2. But I'm going to stick with my guns because this whole I want to be more involved in the offense thing, the whole reason why he became a Dallas Maverick for about 10 seconds and then switched back to the Cavs because he wanted to be more involved in the offense. What skill? You just jump and dunk. He has no other abilities at all. He can't even make free throws. He shot 37%. That's worse than LeBron James's field goal percentage in the finals. 37% from the free throw line. What offense do you have other than dunking the ball? I want to be more involved in the offense. I think I'm a good player. No, that's why you're on this list. And I think there's a lot of experts and people who agree with me that he's a little bit overrated. But he's on this list because in his head he thinks he's an offensive force. I don't get it. I don't see how. I've seen the Clippers play. If he's not getting put-back dunks or offensive rebounds and finishing at the basket or lob passes from Chris Paul, he ain't even scoring his 11 points. If he got the ball in the post, he'd go and turn the ball over like that. He is not a good player offensively, which is fine because he averaged 15 and 2 rebounds and blocks. Know your roles. Know your limitations. You are a very good center when it comes to what you want from your big, rebounding and defense. But you can't score. So don't go and make a whole fuss about, I want to be more involved in the offense, when being more involved in the offense means your team's going to lose. Simple as that. That's why DeAndre Jordan is number 2, because in his head, he obviously thinks he's one of the best centers in the league and thinks that he should get touches on the offensive end. No, you should not get touches on the offensive end unless it's an alley-oop or a put-back dunk or an offensive rebound, because your skill set is as good as you know what? You can fill in the blank there because I didn't think of anything that skill set is as good as. But it's bad! Which now brings me to my number 1 most overrated player. And this is, once again, I can really make all these 1 through 3 guys in any order. But I have Russell Westbrook, another guy I don't think surprises anyone, another person that NetsBoy does not like. Look, 28 points per game, 8.6 rebounds. 8.6 assists, 7.3 rebounds. Those are great numbers. But 42% field goal percentage is not good. It ain't terrible, but it's not good. To score 28 points per game, it's not that good. But here's the deal. And I mentioned this in my top 5 point guards because he was there as well. 4.4 turnovers. Are you kidding me? If you're averaging more than 3 turnovers a game, it's bad. If you're averaging more than 4 turnovers a game, it's freaking terrible. How can you be a point guard and be considered a good point guard and basically every other possession or every other pass the ball to the other team? That is atrocious. And look, I've seen Westbrook play. He's an unbelievable athlete. He's a very good finisher, but he really just drives to the basket and gets fouled a lot and makes his free throws. He's one of those guys. There's a lot of guys in the league who are like that. Jerry Stackhouse was like that. Richard Jefferson was like that. Dwayne Wade is like that. Dwayne Wade has other skill sets, so I don't want to group him in with the O's guys. But, players like that. Paul Pierce was a lot like that, but once again, he has other skill sets. They're in that player mentality where not that it's all they do, but their main goal is to drive to the basket and get fouled and capitalize at the free throw line, which is fine. Those players are great. Richard Jefferson was the worst of that, by the way. Richard Jefferson was one of the most overrated players I've ever seen back when he was with the Nets. That 1 year he averaged 23 points per game. All he did was go to the line. He would get the ball, dribble into 3 people, and get fouled and make his free throws. There is no skill at all with Richard Jefferson. He really wasn't that skillful. He was decent at the three ball. He could make threes, and he was athletic. But other than just driving to the basket and getting fouled, that's all he did. So Russell Westbrook's out of that mold. Now, once again, he can do more, but that's his primary focus, is drive to the basket, get fouled, make free throws. But the thing that's so frustrating is the turnovers. 4.4 a game. I don't care if my point guard is going to score, give me 28 points and 8 assists if he's turning the ball over 2 out of 50% of the time. That's not true, but you know what I mean? 8 assists is great, but 4.5 turnovers is terrible. 2-to-1 turnover ratio is terrible. For every 2 passes he makes, 1 of them is going to be a turnover. No! Or should be 1 for every 3 passes he makes, 2 will be a pass and 1 will be a turnover. That's terrible! You don't want your main ball handler to be giving the ball over 4 times a game. When you're in the NBA, anything that's more than about 15 turnovers for a team is bad. And when you have one player contributing to almost a third of that, that is terrible. So that's why Russell Westbrook is my number 1 most overrated player, because I look at those turnovers and I look at the field goal percentage, isn't that great? And I've seen him play and he just runs into people. I don't like it. I don't want my point guard. I take a point guard who scores me only about 10 points a game if he's giving me 8 assists and 2 turnovers. Because my primary ball handler, I want taking care of the basketball. I want the guy with the ball in his hands to take care of the basketball. That's why I like Chris Paul. I think he only averaged like 1.2 turnovers, something like that, 1.7. Not 4.4. Are you kidding me? That's terrible. That's a terrible statistic. Not even Pee-wee point guards turn the ball over that much. Man. So there you have it. Those are my top 3 most overrated players. Recap, honorable mention is LeBron James' finals performance. Number 3, Blake Griffin. Number 2, DeAndre Jordan. And number 1, Russell Westbrook. Let me know what you think. Comment your top most overrated players. And keep your eyes open for the latest NetsBoys. The season's right around the corner. We're about a week and a half away from the season. So my next week's episode will be my predictions of the Nets season. I don't think I'm going to have my Eastern Conference predictions. Because I'm going to be honest, I have no idea what's going to happen in the East this year. But I have seen the Nets preseason games, and I have been able to follow them enough that I have a general idea of what I'm expecting from the Nets. So that'll be my next week's video, and then the season starts, and then we're in full basketball bloom. So keep your eyes open for the latest NetsBoy. Please start sharing some videos of mine. Start telling some friends and family members. And comment, like, subscribe. Do something. Okay? Please? So this is NetsBoy, signing off.